You think these are just a few tiny ants? Wrong. This is the 82nd great calamity of an entire empire. A praying mantis merely took one curious glance, and the ants twisted its head clean off. The crab relied on its sturdy armor. It didn't think much of the ants. As a result, in just a few minutes, it had been devoured, leaving nothing but an empty shell. These are the most terrifying ants in the world. Whenever this army of 20 million ants marches, nothing can grow wherever they pass. When they encounter mountains, they carve a path. When they reach rivers, they build bridges. They even have an airborne division that drops troops onto the battlefield. Any creature that appears before them immediately becomes a target. Even the wasp nests in the trees are nothing more than food to them. In just over 10 minutes, an entire giant wasp nest is completely plundered. These are the infamous army ants. Even AI would shudder at the mention of their name. They are nicknamed the killer ants. Yet even such a mighty kingdom has its sworn enemy. Another army of leafcutter ants, also numbering more than 20 million. The battle that is about to rage day and night will become a legendary war. In the world of ants, the combined strength of all three factions will exceed tens of millions of ants. The army ants continue to display their trademark ferocity and brutality. They are determined to wipe out the entire enemy colony before they will stop. Facing the invaders, surging in like a tidal wave, the leafcutter ants immediately deploy their elite trump card. This is the Iron Legion, numbering in the tens of thousands. Each one is several times larger than an army ant. Every single one is a ruthless killing machine. The arrival of the fierce Black Ant Army turns this legendary battle from a war between two kingdoms into a struggle among three empires. The origin of all of this begins with a nuptial flight. The insect in front of you that looks like a wasp is the queen of the leafcutter ants. She is about to prove through her actions that she can completely overturn everything the army ants know. After completing her nuptial flight, the queen is ready to lay eggs. She must quickly dig a chamber large enough to hide in. The male ants that mated with her are exhausted and about to die. To buy time for the queen to dig her nest, they use themselves as bait, drawing nearby predators away. The future of the colony rests entirely on the queen. At this moment, she has no helpers. Everything must be done by herself. As the tunnel grows deeper, her wings become her greatest burden. The queen will never allow those wings to slow down her digging. She decisively tears off her own wings. This is also the price she must pay to become a queen. Once she has opened a passage underground, she seals herself inside forever. In the darkness, she incubates her first brood. With no food available, the queen survives by digesting the wing muscles and even part of her brain for energy. Therefore, the first generation of leafcutter ants is quite small. But the mission they must shoulder is anything but easy. Before leaving the nest, the queen carries a tiny clump of fungal threads inside a pouch beneath her mouth as her dowry. It is also the startup capital for building her kingdom. To help the fungus grow rapidly, she sacrifices some of her eggs to nourish it. Now, the first generation of worker ants has taken over the nurturing duties. They use dead twigs and decaying leaves collected inside the nest, together with bacteria secreted from their mouths, to sustain the fungus. In return, the fungus produces edible mushrooms. These mushrooms become food for the entire colony. As the colony grows larger, more fertilizer is needed to feed the fungus. The tiny first-generation workers have very limited labor capacity, so the queen eats heavily, turning the nutrients into egg yolk to produce a larger generation of worker ants, along with soldier ants to defend the nest. The mandibles of these larvae contain metal. making them not only extremely tough, but also razor sharp. This also determines that they will become highly efficient workers. Once fully grown, these worker ants tirelessly harvest leaves from the rainforest and carry them back to cultivate the fungus. The fungus releases chemical signals to tell the workers which kinds of leaves it prefers. To satisfy the fungus, they often climb trees as tall as 40 to 50 meters. For them, that is like a human climbing Mount Everest. The head muscles of a leafcutter ant account for 2/3 of its body weight. Its sharp mandibles can easily cut leaves into pieces suitable for transport, without any outside interference. They can, within just 24 hours, strip an entire tree of all its leaves. In the world of ants, there is no such thing as laziness. They march in orderly lines, carrying materials back to the nest. Though tiny, they can carry leaves weighing 20 times their own body weight. That's equivalent to a human carrying a 2-ton car back and forth. So, during the harvesting process, some older worker ants gradually discover faster and more efficient harvesting methods. Of course, making mistakes now and then is perfectly normal. But thanks to their intelligence, they never return empty-handed, although the journey back is extremely difficult. The moment they safely return to the nest, every effort is worthwhile. They sort and organize all the leaves they have collected to ensure every fungal strand gets its favorite meal. The mushrooms produced after the fungus feeds on the leaves become the hope of survival for the larvae. At the same time, they motivate the queen to keep laying eggs. In just 6 months, the leafcutter ant kingdom has grown to 5 million members. Although the workers handle most of the tasks, only the queen is capable of reproduction. With an abundant food supply, the queen becomes an egg-laying machine, working without rest. At this stage, the workers permanently confine the queen. They completely surround her body with fungus and mushrooms. For the rest of her life, she has only 2 tasks: to eat and to lay eggs, until every last bit of energy is drained from her body to make the kingdom grow ever stronger. The workers tirelessly venture out to gather leaves, combined with the queen laying 30,000 eggs every day. By now, the kingdom's population has surpassed 10 million ants. Unfortunately, an army ant scout discovers the leafcutter ant nest hidden underground. It immediately releases pheromones, calling for reinforcements from the colony. As soon as the signal is received, the entire colony erupts into action. They surge out with unstoppable momentum, heading straight for the leafcutter ant nest. A legendary battle is about to begin.